Ah, old school. Woohoo! So, good morning. So, I'm not in my bus right now. I'm in a spare. Everyone's favorite thing to do. So, with this spare, there's a couple of things you gotta get used to. First of all, when you get in, readjust your mirrors, okay? It's going to do other things, like this one's a diesel, so we've got regens that happen. It's got air brakes. It's got a manual door. So it's going to be interesting. Anyway, so the seats are lower, as the kids are all. You've got a new bus. No, it's not new. It's really old. No microphone, so I got to yell instead of quietly talk into a mic. But, you know what? When life hands you lemons, you make lemonade. So, talk to you later. The mirrors, okay? They're set up differently, and if you're not careful, you can actually lose a whole vehicle in the mirror's blind spot. So you gotta duck around to be able to see that. So that's something to watch out for. This is what I mean. This mirror here, you can actually lose a whole vehicle at a four-way stop. And so you've got to really duck around, or even a person crossing the road. So you have to, what's the word, rock and roll. So that's something to be aware of whenever you're driving a bus with this style of mirror. Hear the beeping? That's telling me I have a regen. So whenever your bus is doing a regen, what it's trying to do is it's trying to clear the exhaust. And it's basically it's trying to really heat up the exhaust so it burns out the, well, I would say the carbon, but probably that's not the right word for it. But the problem with this is, if you're, let's say you stopped at a school, the exhaust coming out is extremely hot, and it can burn anyone around it. But if you're driving a long route, well, it's not an issue. So, when I was driving B58, it would do regens from time to time, but I had nice long country routes, so I very rarely noticed that I was doing a regen. You can actually smell it. You get used to the smell. But when I was driving in Vanier with 58, it would do regens once in a while, and it was getting like, I should be concerned. Well, one of the mechanics told me, put it in a lower gear. You want to get that engine nice and warm. So, you know, instead of overdrive, you put it in drive, or third, whichever number's on the dash. So you want to make the engine work. So if it does two regens, regen sometimes 20 minutes. If it does a second one, well, that's good. But it's best to advise the mechanics. And if the dash comes up regen required and it's not doing it, definitely let the mechanics know. You know, unless you're at a school, you don't want to shut down. You want the regen process to work its way through. And even if you're back at the yard, let the mechanics know that it's doing a regen, and try not to shut the engine off, because the exhaust system is expensive, and we want the exhaust to clean itself out. So hopefully, if you see the little puff of smoke in yellow, you realize it's a regen. Okay, it is doing a mechanical process. Not to freak out, but it's something to be a little more aware of. So thank you very much, and have yourself a great day. Bye. So here's another example of a regen happening. We have a small light right here. We have high exhaust temperature. Alright. So it's just doing a regen, so it's a good idea not to shut down. I am getting ready to do my morning run. So I'm right beside a park. It's a nice quiet area, so I'm just going to throw it in neutral, and that's all. So whenever opening a door like this, it's kind of second nature. You grab hold, and with your bottom of your hand, you bring it down like that. It slides open like that. Okay, and to close it, it locks into that position. But it's just a hand gesture, you know. Some actually have the button on top, but this one doesn't. You just drop and open. So there. So this is the emergency release to get in. Now, I've opened it to already, so we can get in quick. But make sure that once you're in, do that. That way this door doesn't pop open whenever you're driving, which would make it kind of annoying. How many seconds? There we go. Key in.
Please sit down.
Warning. Check for unauthorized entry.
Well, luckily I'm authorized. So that is dealing with this kind. There we go. Got some good news. My bus is fixed. So I'm able to disinfect this bus, refueled it, made sure it's all clean, and going back to my bus. That's fantastic.